Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Russia rejects Western accusations that it had sabotaged Syria peace talks in Geneva, and the Missouri briefs the Council to suspend the Geneva negotiations until February 25th. Turkish president says Russia must be held accountable for the people it has killed in Syria. And Oman-Brazil Joint Committee discussed the commercial and economic cooperation between the two countries. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Russia rejected Western accusations that it had sabotaged Syria peace talks in Geneva, and it said it had some new ideas on how to move the stalled negotiations forward. Western countries renewed their charges that Moscow targeted the talks by using its air power to back a Syrian government offensive in Aleppo while the sides were gathered in Geneva. Russian ambassador said his government has ideas on how to move things forward at the next international meeting on Syria in Munich later this month. UN Special Envoy Staffan de Mistura briefed the Council on this decision to suspend the Geneva negotiations until February 25th.
To be done, not only by us, we have done our part, but by the stakeholders.
Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said Russia must be held accountable for the people it has killed in Syria, saying Moscow and Damascus were together responsible for 400,000 deaths there. Speaking at a joint press conference with his Senegalese counterpart while on a state visit to the Western African country, Erdogan also said Russia was engaged in an invasion of Syria and accused it of trying to set up a boutique state for its longtime ally, President Bashar al-Assad. Erdogan said Russia must be held accountable for the people it has killed within Syria's borders. U.S. Secretary of State Kerry said that talks are now underway about a ceasefire and humanitarian access to civilians in the 5-year-old Syrian civil war, and it will be declared within days whether that is possible. He added that a number of modalities for providing the humanitarian access are being discussed, and the modalities of a ceasefire itself are being discussed, and the modalities of a ceasefire discussed in the Russian have met some constructive ideas about how a ceasefire in fact could be implemented.
The modalities of a ceasefire itself are also being discussed, and the Russians.
North Korea's widely condemned launch of a long-range rocket could happen within a matter of hours after Pyongyang shortened the brought forward and start of the launch window to tomorrow. An updated notification sent by Pyongyang to UN agencies said today that the launch would now take place between February 7th and 14th. The planned satellite launch has been slammed by the international community to discuss ballistic missile test that amounts to another serious violation of UN resolution following the North's nuclear test last month. The North insists its space program is purely scientific in nature, but the United States allies, including South Korea, says its rocket launchers are aimed at developing an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of striking the U.S. mainland. Yesterday, both U.S. President Barack Obama and South Korean President Park Geun-hye spoke about phone Chinese leader Jinping, urging him to back punitive measures against Pyongyang. Representatives from Pakistan, Afghanistan, the United States and China met today in Islamabad to continue work on a roadmap for peace talks with Taliban. The Pakistani Prime Minister, Foreign Affairs Advisor Sartaj Aziz said in an opening remark in the Pakistani capital that he hoped the group would finalize a roadmap on Saturday to outline a way forward for direct dialogue between the Afghan government and Taliban groups. After hours of searching for aquatic survivors amongst the rubble of a 17-story collapsed building in southern Taiwan, 5 people were still missing as darkness fell. A powerful 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit Tainan at around 4 a.m. today. At least 8 people were killed. Buildings in 9 other locations in the city of 2 million people had collapsed, but rescue efforts were focused on the apartment block where 6 of the dead were found. A packed passenger bus plunged off a bridge into the river in western India yesterday, killing at least 37 people. The incident happened when the driver lost control and veered off the road into Purna River in Savsari district, some 285 kilometers from Ahmedabad and the main city of Gujarat state. The Gujarat government announced 400,000 rupees in compensation for the families of those killed. Transport analysts distribute the huge number of accidents to poor roads, badly maintained vehicles and reckless driving. The government has put forward proposals for new legislations to make roads safer by stiffening lax traffic regulations. Still to come in our news bulletin. Camel Beauty Contest starts at Royal Camel Corps tracks in the Wilaya of Barka. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Oman-Brazil Joint Committee concluded its first round works in the capital, Brasilia. The two sides discussed topics related to commercial and economic development, as well as expanding the cooperation and commercial exchange between both countries, in addition to enhance relations in economy and investment fields. During the meeting, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Public Authority for Investment Promotion and Export Development and the Foreign Ministry of Brazil. The Sultan's delegation was headed by His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Masoud As-Sunaidi, Minister of Commerce and Industry, while the Brazilian side was headed by His Excellency Sergio Danesi, Secretary General in the Brazilian Foreign Ministry. With the participation of more than 130 doctors, including a group of medical crew from various health institutions around the governorates of the Sultanate, the Al Nahda Hospital organized a seminar on cornea surgery. It included a number of lectures on corneal diseases presented by a team of specialists in corneal surgery from India who are currently visiting the Al Nahda Hospital. India is considered one of the advanced countries in this kind of surgeries. Camel Mazina or Camel Beauty Contest started at Royal Camel Corps track in the Wilaya of Barka. The 5-day event is part of the 15th Domestic Camel Racing Festival for 2015-2016. It came to encourage camel owners and breeders to protect Omani purebred camels. The winning camels were selected by an arbitrating committee as per the camel beauty standards known by camel owners. The contest witnessed a great participation by camel owners and breeders. The Sultanate produced minerals worth over 142.2 million Omani Riyals during the year 2014, according to the National Center for Statistics and Information. Over the 3 years of 2012 to 2014, the total value of minerals produced in the Sultanate showed a continued decline, with corresponding figures being 159.7 million to 146.6 million and 142.2 million Omani Riyals. During 2014, the Sultanate exported its entire production of 2,300 tons of copper cathodes, earning revenues of 6.1 million Omani Riyals, also 165 kilograms of gold and 3,285 kilo of silver, valued respectively at over 2.5 million and 732,000 Omani Riyals were sold by the Oman Mining Company in the same year. The Public Authority for Consumer Protection recalled during 2015 36 vehicles, 145 tires, 82 electronic and electrical appliances, 154 mobiles, and other 20 different items in the Wilaya and the governorates of the Muscat. The annual report of the Complaints Department, as per the authority, said that recalled cars from different agencies. They had some technical, manufacturing and other different faults. Meanwhile, in the governorate of Dhahira, a misdemeanor department in Ibri First Instance Court issued a verdict convicting accused for violating consumer protection law by raising bread prices without obtaining a permission from the concerned body. The court fined and accused 5,000 Omani Riyals. The Public Authority for Consumer Protection affirms that it will continue performing its mission to protect the consumer rights as per the applicable legal laws in this regard. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry clarified that the number of industrial clearances due to be established recorded an increase during the last year. The clearances reached 843, with a total investment around 9.3 billion Omani Riyals. The records of existing projects reached 136, with a total investment of more than 427 million Omani Riyals. At the end of January 2016, Muscat securities market reduced the losses it had at the first 3 weeks of the year to close above 5,000 points, despite the fact that it closed at 4,867 points on 21st January, a record low since April 2009. The sectorial indexes decreased with a varying degrees, with the biggest decline by the service sector, which slumped by 5%. The Sharia market index declined by 4.5% compared to 3.5% for industry index and 2.1% for the financial sector index. Both Oman Air and Air France Company for Engineering and Maintenance (KLM) signed an agreement to provide support and maintenance services for Oman Air Boeing 737. The agreement came to support the Oman Air record in field of security and operator reliability. The agreement was signed in Admission City in Netherlands. Now for the general weather forecast. Generally clear skies will prevail over most governorates of the Sultanate, with chances of low cloud and fog late at night and early morning on the governorate of Zahira. Winds will be northeasterly light to moderate on the coastal areas of Sea of Oman. Along the rest of the Sultanate, it will be northwesterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight on the coast of the governorate of Musandam and Sea of Oman, with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. Rest of the coast, it will be moderate with a maximum wave height of 2 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Russia rejects Western accusations that it had sabotaged Syria peace talks in Geneva, and the de Maizière briefs the Council to suspend the Geneva negotiations until February 25th. Turkish president says Russia must be held accountable for the people it has killed in Syria. And the Oman-Brazil Joint Committee discussed its commercial and economic cooperation between the two countries. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.